And welcome back to another CBB Talk with your boy Will Diggins. So we're here. The weekend's over. It's a Monday. I don't have school today, so that's pretty awesome. It's a Monday, and we're here to talk about what happened yesterday, what transpired. It's been the best 4 days of the best 4 days of the year. I'm gonna say it. It's like when Christmas is ended. It's the day after Christmas, and the days are still good. When the day after Christmas, you're still gonna get some gifts. You're still gonna get some gifts. You're still gonna have no school. You're still gonna have good Christmas vibes. But New Year's is coming. It's just not the same. But when it's before Christmas and during Christmas, and this is what we have. We're still gonna have Sweet 16 games. We're still gonna have the national championship. But nothing beats those first 4 days of the tournament. And we have 16 teams that will be competing for the national championship. It's whittled down. We've had now a total of how many games we've had? We've had 48 games played, I believe. And we have to now get 15 more. So let's talk about what happened yesterday. Let's talk about, I would say the biggest story game. And it was Kansas State versus Kentucky, man. What a game that was. And you remember I was talking about my Will Dickinson favorite player of the year, and Marquis Nowell is going to be up there, man. He played every minute of this one, and he was perfect. He had one of the best performances I've ever watched from a player. He honestly was perfect. I know he missed 5 threes in this one, but no matter what, whenever he was on the court, you had to know where he was because he was the guy who had the ball in his hand probably 85% the time for the team. And Casey Wallace played amazing, but Marquis Nowell was burning him every play. In that first half, he took more of a playmaking role, and he made so many good passes. On back-to-back fast breaks, he made a behind-the-back pass to Keontae Johnson, which was amazing. Then he goes Hollywood, Showtime on, goes through the legs, Keontae Johnson gets fouled. And then he made some skip passes there, and then he ends the half in that no-look alley-oop, man. He played amazing basketball in that first half, and I was like, damn, I'm just love watching him play. My dad wasn't watching this game, and when he came in and watched the second half with me, I was like, Dad, you have to watch Marquis Nowell. You're gonna love the way he plays, man, because he was carving up that defense in the first half. And in the second half, he kind of took over in more of the scorer role, and he has 23 points in that second half, 27 for the game, hit 3 threes in that second half, man. And what he was doing out there was just getting to the basket. He played with so much confidence, talking all the smack there. Every time he scored, he would go put the ball down. He would go bark at that ball. And that's what I love to see there. And I had Kansas State making my Sweet 16. I haven't making my Elite Eight. And it was because of Keontae and Marquis. And Keontae was good in this game. He hit the dagger 3 there, and he wasn't feeling it all game today, but he hit that big shot there. And this team just and as Drum Tank put it, they have dudes that played, and man did they. We saw that they didn't really play that diva bench. Green didn't play that much. Loyola didn't play. He only played 1 minute in this one because they had to play a lot of Masood on Shibwe. Masood played great minutes in this one. He hits that big 3 also before Keontae's. Naquan Tomlin was good. Nagusin fouled down this one, but they had to have a team effort on Shibwe, who ended up having 25 and 18. He had 14 points the second half, man. In Kentucky, fans were complaining about fouls after that first half, but in the second half, man, I thought it was a good ref game, and at the end of the day, Kentucky was 11-4 on fouls with 4 minutes left in this game. So I didn't really hear a lot of complaining about the fouls there. Antonio Reed's probably had his worst game of the year. I think he shot 1 for 15, 1 for 12 from the field. So he was bad. And I think if he has a good game, Kentucky probably wins this game. He had a lot of open shots there. The freshman Casey Wallace, man, he had an outstanding game. Chris Livingston had 11. They were probably, besides Shibwe, they were the 2 best players there. Jacob Toppin fouls out. CJ Frederick made 3 there, and they didn't have a lot of depth on their bench there, while Kansas State did. And Kansas State's going to Elite Eight, man. Jerome Tang's done an amazing job in his first year at Kansas State. Projected last in the Big 12, and now they're one of 2 teams left in the Sweet 16 there. It's just a great story. Now they have Michigan State coming up, and in my bet, I think they're in my opinion, they're the favorite to come out of the East region right now, and they're going to New York City, Marquis Nowell's hometown. Remember, he's a 5'8" guard, man, and he is just outstanding. Such a good ball handler, a great passer. 27-9 in this one for him. And man, Kentucky, another disappointing season. 1 tournament win, and now the last 4 seasons. Of course, you didn't have a tournament 3 years ago, but the last 3 tournaments didn't make it. Lost to St. Peter's, now lost in the second round. Fairleigh Dickinson has more tournament wins than Kentucky over the last 4 years, and man, Kansas State's in the Sweet 16 with a chance to go to the Final Four, Elite Eight in MSG. That's all you can ask for. No one expected them to be here. Kentucky, a disappointing season. Of course, they're going to have an amazing recruiting class comes in. If Oscar Tshiebwe stays, this team could be the #1 preseason team in the country. I'll avoid having them there just because of these last couple years with the high expectations and, kind of laying them down. And Kentucky will be back. But Kansas State, man, just what a great year. And this team can make a national championship game. This team can go all the way, man. And they have jerseys, their colors. Can the football team take after it? Because, man, Kansas State, man, looked really good out there. Jerome Tang, man, what a year. And right now, he might be my coach of the year after all these games have transpired. The team that they'll be facing in the Sweet 16, as I said, is Michigan State. And they pulled off the upset against Marquette. It's hard it's hard to bet against Tom Izzo in March, and he proved me right there. 69-60 win for the Spartans in a great game. Tyson Walker was amazing. Also a New York City kid going back to his home. So it's going to be him versus Markquis Nowell, which will be just an amazing matchup. 2 amazing guards going back at each other. 23 for Tyson Walker, one of the best players off the dribble in basketball. His pull-up mid-range is amazing. He gets the basket. AJ Hogarth had 13 in this one. They're just the super impactful players. They're the ones that control the game, can slow it down for Michigan State there. And then Mady Sissoko, who has struggled a lot this year with foul trouble. He did have 4 in this one, but at the end of the game, Marquette really couldn't get anything in the basket. Marquette made a lot of threes, but they couldn't get the easy buckets. And Sissoko was a big reason that had a lot of key blocks down the stretch there. And Marquette's gonna be back, man. They don't have any seniors, right? So they'll be back. If everyone stays from Marquette, they potential to be a top 3 team in the preseason poll. They're that good. Shaka's struggled, right? They've lost 9. He's lost 9 of his last 10 tournament games, which is not good at all. But Marquette will be back. They're a super young team, and they just had an amazing year. Outdone all expectations for this team. Preseason 9th in the Big East poll. But this is a game that you want to win. You're a 2 seed in the tournament. Michigan State has never been a team that's been talked about a lot this year. I didn't talk about Michigan State a lot because they weren't bad enough where it's like shocking how bad they were, but they weren't good enough to get a lot of national recognition. But they've been doing it all year long, just being consistent, and now they're finally breaking out, and now they're going to play a Kansas State team, which, yes, I was talking about, is really good, but they're a beatable team. And Michigan State with Tom Izzo can make another Final Four, another Elite Eight run. He's now his 15th Sweet 16. And this team doesn't have, the NBA talent as other Michigan State teams, but they have guys. And Tyson Walker's a guy who, his second year at Michigan State from transferring from Northeastern. He's broken out. Joey Hauser's a great shooter there. And it's just really cool to see Michigan State back in the spot. Tom Izzo's done an amazing job after all they've gone through this year. And they get the job done. And it's really cool to see them back in the Sweet 16. That's going to be a very interesting matchup. That's going to be played on Thursday. The other Thursday game, some other Thursday games that will be played will be FAU against Tennessee. And, man, that was an amazing game by FAU and FDU. I thought FDU was going to do it, man. I was pulling for FDU. It was a great game. They got off to a bad start. FAU came back and FDU came back and responded. They were throwing punches. FAU, had a good start. FDU had a great start to that second half, going on a little 8-0 run there. FAU responded. It was back and forth, and they eventually pulled away. John L. Davis was amazing in this one. He ended up having 29 points. Martin was good. Elijah Martin was good, 14. They just had a great team effort there. And just shout out to FDU, man. What a story. Tobin Anderson. Roberts was just great. Sean Moore had another good game. Munden was good. Grant Singleton, I didn't have an amazing game there, but the two short guards, man, under 5 foot, shorter than me, going out there and doing stuff is inspirational, man. They're second team ever to do it. They weren't supposed to be here, and they were. So that's just a great job. I watched that whole post game interview. Just before watching this, I was watching on YouTube, and it seemed like a great dude, guys. Tobin Anderson seems like just an amazing coach, amazing guy. Someone that, after this, they're going to get more recruits going to Fairleigh Dickinson, man. So it's just sad that it's over, but also cool that it happened for FDU. FAU, I didn't like the way that game ended for them. Didn't like it at all, really. That they tried to do a 360 windmill to end the game. Waving off FDU. You're waving off a 16 seed. Just I don't agree with doing that at all, right? You're supposed to win. You're a 15-point favorite to end up winning by 8, right? So I bet FDU. Or my dad bet FDU. I didn't bet FDU, but I told him to. And they ended up covering this one, but I will say FAU played amazing, and they're a Cinderella story of their own, right? I think they're underseeded as a 9, and they're in the Sweet 16 with a chance to play a Tennessee team that we've seen that's vulnerable all year, and it's gonna be a great fight in MSG. This FAU team gets the spotlight. I don't think a lot of people are gonna be rooting for them. Spoiler, I probably won't be. I didn't like the way they kind of ended that whole game there, being Fairleigh Dickinson, but hey. FAU's in the Sweet 16. I don't think anyone would have expected that at the beginning of the year, and just a great story from them as well. So they're a Cinderella of their own. Congrats to them, and they're going to get their spotlight on Thursday night at 9 p.m. So Kansas State's at 6:30, and FAU is at 9. The UConn takes care of business against St. Mary's. They played amazing in this one. The first half was a little shaky for UConn. They went back and forth with St. Mary's. I think Dukas gets hurt for St. Mary's. It was a back injury there. And after that, it was all UConn. That second half, it was dominating. We saw if UConn plays at their full potential, they're going to be hard to beat. Sunogo's been amazing these first 2 games, 2 20-point games. Jordan Hawkins had it going. Tristan Newton, the guards there are built for March. And I've been saying this all year. 13 from Newton, 12 from Hawkins there. Just all around, wasn't the best game for UConn, but Sunogo's been that guy of recent. Andre Jackson had 6, 6, and 7 there. And St. Mary's did not hit shots down the stretch there. No one scored 10 points for them. And another year for St. Mary's where they win the first round, lose in the second round. So they've struggled to break through into a Sweet 16, but they get to the tournament constantly. And they're a younger. Mahaney's a freshman. They're a younger team, so they can get there back again. I wouldn't be surprised if St. Mary's is in the same situation as this year, next year. UConn, on the other hand, man, they're a team that right now they're going to be favorites against Arkansas. They play on Thursday at 7:15. That's going to be an amazing game. 2 teams that are playing really good basketball recently. Arkansas is going to have a struggle playing against a Sunogo. They got to try to get him into foul trouble like they did with KJ Adams. But that's going to be an amazing game. And then in the other game in that region, Gonzaga takes on TCU. Man, that was a great game. They were down at half, and they played an amazing second half. Drew Timme has just been, everyone say he's old. He's a true senior. He's not a 5th-year guy, and he had an amazing game in this one. Ends up having 28 points. Rasir Bolton had 17. Malachi Smith had 11 off the bench. Mike Miles, put his heart there, and that's another year for TCU where they end up losing in the second round to just a really tough team, and they give them their all. Back-to-back years. Last year they lost to Arizona in just a tough matchup, and they lose this one to Gonzaga, right? And they battled through injuries all year, and they just couldn't get the job done, right? 81, 84. Mike Miles is a junior, so he could come back, and TCU could be back for another run next year. I just want them to be healthier, and I want them to be able to make a deep run because this team had the talent to, and they just run into tough opponents in that second round. But yeah, good year for TCU, and Gonzaga is my team that I predicted to go to the national championship game. And I was nervous down at half, and they showed their full potential. And if they play a UConn, because this UCLA game, UCLA is not a tough team, and they've proven without Jalen Clark that they've been able to beat opponents. And again, it's not going to be easy to beat Gonzaga or UCLA, but I expect Gonzaga versus UConn in the Elite Eight. And man, these are 2 fiery offenses, and one's going to have to go home. And right now, I still like my Gonzaga to the Final Four pick national championship, but UConn's going to be a very tough team to beat if they end up meeting up. But it's March, so expect the unexpected. Some other results from Thursday: Xavier takes care of Pitt. They kind of just handed Pitt an L there. Good run for Pitt. Good season from Jeff Capel all around there. but Nunji was great. The whole starting they had 6 players in double figures: Nunji, Kunkel, Sule Boom, Hunter, Jones, and Claude. All had double digits in this one, and that's Xavier basketball. They do it by team effort. They love talking about they average the most assists in the country, and they're doing that again. Nunji looks like a 40-year-old man out there. He is a 5th-year guy, I believe. But he was amazing. 18 this one. He's always efficient around the rim there. And when their offense gets going, it's hard to beat them. Kunkel's an amazing shooter. Sule can, he had 14, 7, and 5 in this one. Double-double from Kobe Jones. Xavier's a really good team. They're going to be hard to beat. And they've proven without Freeman that their offense is still really good. They made it to the championship game of the Big East tournament. But Texas I think Texas right now might be my favorite to come out of this region, right? Because Houston's shown that they have been vulnerable in these 2 games they've played. Texas is playing really good basketball after being Penn State. That's the game on Friday at 9:45. God, why is that one the late game? That is the late game, which sucks because that's the game I'm almost most looking forward to on Friday. But that's gonna be a really good one there. Miami just dominates Indiana. Indiana got off to a good start in that second half, and I got worried. Miami played good. They got off to a hot start to start the game, and Indiana clawed back. But Isaiah Wong, my ACC Player of the Year, man, just came out there with a statement. 27 in this one. Jordan Miller had 19. Nigel Pack 12. He's been amazing these first 2 games, and Miami just has a lot of dudes. Just like Kansas State, right? Jim Leonega's back in the Sweet 16 for a second straight year, and they're gonna give a lot of problems to Houston. They're not a great defensive team, but when their offense gets going, it's hard to beat them. They shoot the 3 amazingly well. They have players that can hit it from range there. And Trey scored 23. Trace Jackson Davis, man, great college career there. It sucks to see him go out in that way. Jalen Hood-Schifino, good freshman year. He's gonna go to the draft. This Indiana team was old, so they're gonna have to try to rebuild and get more players for next year. Got 0 points on the bench in this one, and that's gonna be hard to win games when you don't get any bench points. When Miami got 14, but Miami, man, I expected Miami to be there. I got 1 game wrong. I thought Indiana was gonna lose to Kent State in that region. I've only got 1 game wrong. My dad had a perfect what is that, Midwest region? Or is that West? No, I think that's Midwest. I think that's the Midwest region. He is a perfect Midwest region going. Miami's going to give Houston problems, and I could see him beating them getting to another Elite Eight. But they're the only ACC team left standing, and rightfully so. They're the best team in the regular season, and they've proven that they can win in March, just like last year. And Isaiah Wong, man, is just that guy. Congrats to Miami. Good season from Indiana, right? And there's only 1 Big Ten team left, and it's Michigan State. And if you told me that right at the beginning of the tournament, I would have been like, hell no, because I would have said Purdue. I would have said Michigan State. Or no, I would have said Indiana. Maybe I could have said Michigan State 3rd. Northwestern would have been up there for me. Iowa could have if you tell me Iowa made a run, I wouldn't have been surprised because Houston's injury problems. But congrats to Michigan State, man. Tom Izzo there, and Miami, Houston, 7:15 on Friday on CBS. That's gonna be an amazing game. Then the last game of yesterday was Creighton, Baylor, and man, I had faith in Baylor, which was probably stupid of me. It probably was stupid of me. Because Creighton, is a team that I think a lot of people are very high on Creighton coming on the tournament. Of course, coming into the year, they were. And they went through a lot of injuries. They just didn't play consistent. And Baylor's defense is really bad. And it really hurt them this one. They give up 85 points. It's hard to win a game when you give up 85 points there. LJ Cryer had 30. Good game from him. He's a junior. I expect him to be back next year. Flagler's a senior, but I think he's a true senior, so we could see Flagler back. And if they get Flagler and Cryer back, I'll expect them to be back next year. But Keontae will leave. Good freshman season from Keontae George. He'll be a high draft pick. But Ryan Nembhard had 30 points. Kalkbrenner is always consistent, only a 10 this one. Baylor Scheinman hit some threes. We do see a Baylor in the Sweet 16 and Baylor Scheinman there. only got 9 points from the bench, but that was still more than Baylor. And Creighton, the 6th seed, would now be I will say a heavy favorite. They're going to be a big favorite against Princeton. And we could see Creighton in the Elite Eight for the first time in a long time. But they're going to probably go against the Alabama team. That's not easy. That is not easy at all. But Creighton's in there. Ryan Nembhard, after wasn't able to play in the tournament last year when they almost beat Kansas. And now you get a chance, see him healthy. He has 30 points in this one. And he could be a guy like his brother who, has a great college career and then goes, lower pick and ends up being a rotational player. But, of course, that's down the line. We got to look to the near future. And they play a Princeton team who's hot, who hits a lot of threes. We've seen that if they play well, they can beat anyone. But Creighton, man, their offense has been really good these last 2 games. They got scared from NC State. They handled Baylor. And now they get a Princeton team I expect them to beat. And, we have 3 Big East teams left. Oh, no, we have 2. Do we have 3 or 2? We have 3. Xavier, UConn, and Creighton. And they could all get there. I would be surprised. If it's none, I'd be really surprised. I expect it to be 2, Creighton and UConn. But Xavier could do it. I've been writing off Xavier. Actually, I had Xavier here. I thought they got an easy bracket. But we never know. In March, you can never know. But the top 2, the top side of the bracket plays on Friday. The bottom plays on Thursday. Man, I'm going to have a video coming out this week on if I think you get the redemption bracket. So I'll do one of those. That's if I had to redo my bracket now, who would I have, winning it all, do all that stuff. And then, yeah, that'll be it. I'll probably make a preview of the Sweet 16, what you need to know. Maybe I won't. I don't know. Who knows what I'm going to do, right? This is a weird time where it's not a lot to talk about because there's just games going on. But yeah, this is a great first weekend, man. We didn't have one overtime game, which was crazy. We didn't have one overtime game or game winner. No buzz beaters. We still haven't had a buzz beater in March since that Jalen Slug shot. But we still got 15 games to go. I expect there to be a one overtime game. There has to be one overtime game. There's going to be one game that's going to be just a freaking a shocker that you won't expect. But congrats to the 16 teams. I'll go through Alabama, San Diego State, Creighton, Princeton, Houston, Miami, Xavier, Texas, FAU, Tennessee, Kansas State, Michigan State, Arkansas, UConn, Gonzaga, UCLA. We got 11 conferences represented. Some newbies in there, some weird teams in there that you wouldn't expect. But hey, man, it's March Madness. Anything can happen. And I'm ready for next Thursday. Can it come quick enough? Probably not. But eventually it'll be there, and we'll get to watch more basketball. What the first couple days, man. First 4 days were amazing, and I expect more to come in the Sweet 16. So thanks for watching. Stay up to date, and get ready for more videos in the future. Peace.